first 2 rounds. Absolutely spectacular. All 20 of them were phenomenal. Now on to you, Mr. Nambiar. Of course, 7 Seas has been, revolutionizing the way parents have been worrying about the brain development. But to put together this journey of, this new property of 7 Seas Masterminds, how did that come about? What was the idea behind that, putting this quiz competition together, making sure that parents are able to, teach the kids the right way so that they can really, come out with flourishing flying colors?
So 7 Seas has been around for, I think, 80 years or so. And if you look around in the marketplace, there are a plethora of brands that talk about nutrition, health, and so on. So as a parent myself, I'm bombarded with information in the marketplace that talk about what is good for your kids, what's not good for your kids, and so on. So we wanted to put a program together which really highlights the importance of nutrition and health for children, and specifically in terms of brain development for children. And given the pressures in our world and what the kids have to go through on a daily basis, we needed to emphasize something that brought the education element and tie it in with the nutrition element with children. And that's the impetus of 7 Seas Academy.
Lovely. Let's have a big round of applause. It's a lovely initiative. As a student, I used to love quizzes. Like, this was my favoriteest extracurricular activity. So when they got me on board to do this, I was so thrilled.
Then you do NASA.
You said it. Yes, I would love that to happen. Vandana ma'am, I'm sure you've been dealing with kids for the longest time. And learning has been a part of the journey. You learn from kids, you teach kids. It's just been like a journey of give and take. But when you really talk about teaching a kid, like ma'am said, it's an all-round development. So if you were to summarize and put it in, a brief for all of us, especially our parents, how would you do that today?
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate 7 Seas' initiative of giving this opportunity and platform to many kids, 60,000 kids in the country. I think a big hand of applause for 7 Seas to start with. And I know winning and losing is a part of the game, so all 20 kids, another big hand of applause for each one of you to make it till here. So when you talk about parents and you talk about schooling, I think these two absolutely go together, and I like what Raveena said. And it's true that 2 things that I say are most important for children. I know parents think that education comes automatically in school. However, there is a lot behind before they actually come into school, right from when they are children to when they grow up as teenagers or adults. I think 2 things that I feel is a challenge for us in schools is nutrition and sleep, the right kind of nutrition that kids need to get. And I think sleep is another important aspect that you think loses on today's kids, especially with the kind of exposure that these kids have today, with the kind of technology. You can see a lot of moms shaking their heads over there. And I think that the challenge for parents today is to make sure that they're able to give the 2 most important aspects to their children is to sleep for a number of hours that is required. And the second is the right kind of diet, right kind of nutrition. And I know that teaching and learning is all about the child. And the challenge for a school then, at school, is to make sure how they create that environment for today's children. And I think with the kind of exposure that kids have today, how do you arouse that curiosity with kids? How do you arouse that kind of opportunity for the children? Is to create that kind of environment, use a lot of teaching techniques. The pedagogy is what really then allows them to explore and go further. So I think that these are 2 challenges for today's parents, and that's what they need to look into.
Thank you so much for really putting it all together for us. Sleep, nutrition, Of course, 7Cs are helping us there with great brain development, and Ms. Raveena has already said, parenting is an important part where you give them love and support and everything put together. A great kid is right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request Ms. Raveena Tandon to address all of us and talk about this special occasion. You want to say something else? Anything that talks about how this quiz competition is going to be super exciting and it's a step forward for all of us?
Like I said in my earlier introduction, conversation, actually, it cannot be a speech. I, number one, am very proud, like I said, to be associated with 7Cs. And coming back to that point a little, I'll tell you why. As a mother, and I'm sure a lot of mothers here are worried about their children in today's day and age, the kind of pressures our children go through. I'm sure a lot of you remember जब हमारे टाइम का भी था, जब हम स्कूल में थे, हम लोग तो आके बैग्स पटक के नीचे भाग जाते थे बिल्डिंग में खेलने के लिए या मैदान में खेलने के लिए, और रात को 7:30-8 बजे जब माएँ हमारी मम्मियाँ चिंतित होती थी तब चिल्लाती थी, अरे आ जाओ अभी घर डिनर का टाइम हो गया. तब तक तो हम लोग खेलते ही रहते थे, कभी साकली खेल रहे हैं, हाइड एंड सीक खेल रहे हैं, डबा स्पाइस खेल रहे हैं. आई एम श्योर यू आर ऑल फेमिलियर विद ऑल दीज गेम्स. बट टुडेज चिल्ड्रन, I rarely see children playing down on open grounds these days. How many of our children, only those who are pursuing football or cricket or something like that will be playing down. But these ordinary normal games which used to be are lost. The time that we had in the sunlight, which we used to be without sunblock and this protective creams which paranoid mothers do. हम लोग तो पूरा दिन swimming जाते थे, तो 9 बजे जाते थे pool में अपने haversacks लेके, रात को 6 बजे लौटते थे. No sunblocks, no creams, nothing. But that I feel in today's day and age is a little lost. For me, I grew up, when I first associated with 7Cs, I told them a genuine fact. I said, I grew up with taking 7Cs capsules. That was a must which my mother always gave me. My base was strong besides all the other things that were provided to us. We grew up with stronger immune systems. We grew up with stronger nutrition. That's what I feel. Today when I see my children, they come back from school, they're ready to go for another class, then they're going for another class. Even games and sports are taught in classes these days. The training that goes on, whether it is music or it is dancing or it is football or it is swimming, they're all divided into classes. Children are running from one class to the other, then they come back, then they're doing homework, then there is a review before Diwali, then after Diwali again reviews are starting. मैं तो पागल हो गई हूँ. So what do you do under these circumstances? How do you give your children that base which will be strong, that will carry them on lifelong? I prescribe 2 things most definitely. Most definitely. 1, 7Cs and proper nutrition. 2, pure ghee. Pure ghee parathas, you can't beat that. But like I said, my childhood has been with growing up with 7Cs. And so when I was associated with the brand, it gave me so much pleasure, because here was a brand which was not only a product. They sat with me and they genuinely spoke and they took my input as a mother. What I feel children need today, what are the pressures that the parents go through? How do you give your child that little extra bit for him, for a proper brain development, for a proper nutritional, balanced diet, which probably in today's day and age, because of junk food again, children are not getting. So for me, it was very, very important to get into the whole thing of it. And I can thankfully say so, that I am proud today that 7Cs is just not a promotional or another thing in the market. Believe you me, of what I see, each step, each initiative that they are taking is actually propelling the children towards a better, healthier, a nutritionalist, brain developing kind of a concept where they give you everything as a package. And that is what I'm very, very happy to be associated with. Both my children do not let go of their, whatever their daily intake, what I do give them. I'm sure a lot of you parents over here, I think you all should all be proud. The reason that you all are here, your children brought you here with their brains. So give a big hand of, applause for your children for bringing you all here. Be proud of them. So, laying everything to rest at the moment, I think I've made myself very passionately clear as to what I feel about the kind of development that we are giving our children today and where they are losing out on those basic things which we grew up with. So then how do you, compensate for that?
True.
So these are the important things, and like I said, you guys are actually walking the talk. You're not only talking about a certain thing, but you're making it happen for them. So I think it's great.
Absolutely. I think it's always a generation thing also, how my parents would tell me what they did and I will probably end up telling my kids what I did. But it's a journey, it's a beautiful journey, and how we can incorporate everything which is new plus combine it with the old and make something new, because the kids will learn that much more. Mr. Nandya, if you were to add something to